I don't know about you, but I just get like little tingles and on my body, on my skin, every single time I hear that. And I go straight to Simon. It's just like, wow, Rose! Wow, Rose!
My hair's like done weird things. What is happening? What is this? Okay, I know people can't see me right now, but like my hair is ginormous today. I washed it. And it's huge.
That's what happens to mine. Oh my God, when I wash it, it's huge. But you know what you look like right now? You remember in the late 80s, early 90s when you used to wear the headband? You used to wear your hair over that. You had a headband on. Did you guys do that? That's what you look like right now.
Oh, yeah.
Total late 80s.
That's
late 80s, babe.
Yeah. Sean just really painted the picture. Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like, where you have the big 80s hair and the headband.
Yeah.
Just keep it out of your eyes. That's what Paula the Ivy looks like right this very second. So welcome to the Wild Rose podcast with my wild hair.
Oh, you looked fine, woman. You looked
conversations about how we don't do stuff normal. Even my hair's not normal. So
my hair never is.
No.
Wild
Shout
hair
out to all the people who don't have normal hair.
Yeah.
Doesn't do what hair's supposed to do.
Exactly.
Okay, so Shona's actually looking quite professional today. She brought a new microphone. Hopefully the sound is better for everybody.
Yes, a new microphone. We did try an older microphone that I had that I used to record my courses on through Thinkific like many years ago. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, that'll do. That's all fine. And yeah, it wasn't working. And then the AirPods. So now I went out and brought a proper podcasting setup. Loving myself sick right now. Can't stop looking at myself.
You look legit.
Other than
we look like what we're doing now.
Other than the headphones, old gaming headphones, that I've got to get some new headphones. But yeah, I look like I'm about to take us on a flight somewhere. But anyway, I'll get used to that.
Aviator styles. Like it. It's very becoming. That actually is a beautiful segue into our hashtag awkward question time to start off this conversation that we're going to have today on this podcast. Shona Lee, what is something that you believe is, that's fashionable right this very second, that people are really into, that you reckon in 5 years' time is going to be hashtag cringy AF? Because we all know fashion goes in cycles. We all know.
And do you know what? I'm not going to be able to avoid offending someone right now because it's one of those questions, isn't it? If you're into it right now, oh man, do you know what I think? I think
just say it.
The Apple Watches, man. I feel like everyone's walking around talking into their watches like Maxwell Smart. And I don't know. I reckon they're going to go.
You reckon the Apple Watches are not going to be a cool thing in 5 years' time?
That's my prediction. In 2027, it'll be, oh my God, remember me?
Shit.
It'll be like when we had, we thought we had the coolest phone and it was the biggest. I remember when the big ones, iPhones came out, and it was just one of those things where I was like, I got one of the first, right, for my beers, and I put it in my back pocket and thought, this is really freaking weird. Putting something so big in my back pocket. And then I got teased at netball, right? I was watching my daughter play netball, and I think it was a netball dad or someone went, Jesus, grab an iPhone. Like, you know what I mean? It was just so out there. It was so big. I just remember going, oh my God, that is not backwards and going forwards, I tell you that, Roger. But and then like thinking that we had the coolest coolest mobile phones in the day, and we look back and they're chunky, big blocks like bricks, and thinking they were so cool. So I feel like it's going to be a technology thing, not like my 90s eyebrows.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say, was the eyebrow situation that is happening at the moment. And I'm like you, like I was a teenager in the 90s, early teenager in the 90s and early 2000s, when thin, like just like one strand of hair eyebrows was so the thing. Yeah. And I plucked the shit out of them, and they're not they're probably like half as thick as what they should be naturally, because I had really thick, awesome eyebrows. Yeah. But see, there's people trying to correct this now with the tattooing.
Oh, mate, and I'm so scared of that. I did consider it.
And I know that, hey?
I did consider it a little bit. Like just tidy it up and shape it.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So microblading, like you go to a good microblader and it's like, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that makeup trend of like actually blocking in the whole eyebrow, making it really thick.
Yeah.
Even though it does look hot and like people are really into it now. I have like a little, sometimes I do this, very rarely, but sometimes if I could be bothered, I've got like a little brush that's like a mascara type thing, and I sort of fill my nail a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't go overboard with it. But I really think that will probably be kind of like what we did post 90s, early 2000s, and went, why the hell did we all pluck our eyebrows? Still, there was pretty much nothing left. But it'd be like, why? And also, you know, the bright blue eyeshadow with the red lipstick, you kind of look back and you're like, that was kind of a cringy thing. Yeah. Like, I reckon that will be something that we'll look back and be like, why did we paint on our eyebrows?
Yeah. There's
so
always a brow phase. My dad was banging the fashion the other day. And if he's listening, sorry, Dad, I didn't tell you. But he was he had the brushed up thing going on. And all I wanted to do was just brush them down. Do you find yourself like wanting to get
your eyebrow?
Yeah, it's just like brush them down. Because I do that to Simon all the time. Like as we're getting older, we have wayward eyebrow hands. And I'll just walk up to him and just
get weird when you get old, don't they?
Yes.
They like become longer and like weird.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. It's bizarre.
It is weird. Like eyebrows are weird in and of itself. Like, why do we even have them?
That's
what is the purpose of the eyebrow?
In case the eyelashes didn't work, things falling into your eye.
Really?
I don't know. I made that up.
But it's kind of like you got your eyebrow that sits out and then your eye kind of is inside your head a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what does the eyebrow do?
To catch all the dust, catch all the leaves.
Like, yeah, we look strange without them, but if we didn't have them to begin with, like, I don't understand the purpose of them. But anyway.
But they do like coincide with your emotion. Like they work with you. So maybe there's something in that. I have never looked at that, to be honest.
Maybe. If anyone knows what the purpose of eyebrows are, please let us know. And tell us if you agree, if you think Apple Watches and eyebrow makeup will be a cringy thing in 5 years' time. Let's just do our predictions. Like we're totally into Apple Watches and eyebrow makeup right now. Like I think it looks hot, but I reckon
absolutely.
And we're going to be like,
oh, that's it.
Did we really do that?
Yeah.
Because it'll be like the next fashion craze of like whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
Or it could stick around. Who knows?
Who knows? It was just, you know, our normal awkward question time. We just like when we like to think about stuff.
And if you have an answer to that question, what you think is going to be cringy in 5 years, tag us in your Insta stories and let us know what you reckon is going to be #cringy.
Yeah. Everyone walking around going, hey, Siri, turn the lights off. I think that's going to be one too.
What, a cringy thing?
Yeah.
Like, we asked Siri to do everything. Do you know what? Oh my gosh. Okay, I have a story to tell. We were just at the park before we get into today's conversation. I have to tell you, Shona, because we saw a snake today. And I nearly stepped on it.
Ooh, what sort?
Yeah. See, this is the funny thing was that we saw a snake. It got startled because we came close and it kind of went and freaked out and slithered away. And luckily it did, because I would have totally stepped on it because it was on the path in front of us. And as it slithered away, I took a little video, but because it was going so quick, it was like a really skinny snake, and it was it looked like it was a baby snake perhaps, but it was a little bit long, and it was quite fast to move away. And I took a little video. It's, you know, amateur footage. But we were just like, oh my God, it's a snake. Anywho, we got to the park and the kids were playing, and I was doing the paranoid thing of like turning around at every like little noise or whatever at the park going, oh, is there another snake, sort of thing. As I was looking up pictures of snakes and trying to decide what kind of snake it was. But it was funny because my son said, ask Siri. Siri will know what kind of snake it is.
Oh, there you go. Oh my gosh. That's funny because I hear like Simon put all these things in place to turn lights off, to turn the Christmas tree lights on, and I was just like, everyone was freaking walking around the house going, hey Siri, turn the lights on. Hey Siri, turn the lamp on. Hey Siri, turn the freaking Christmas lights on. I'm just like, fucking hell, I'm sick of hearing Siri's freaking name. Just walk over and turn it on. Like, that's
just old school it, guys.
Exactly. Takes more effort for me to go, hey Siri, turn the lights on.
By the time I say, hey Siri, turn the lights on, I could have walked over there and done it myself and not exerted vocal energy.
Exactly. That's right.
Oh, how funny. But I think it might have been a whip snake.
Oh yeah.
Because it was really long and skinny.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting. I've never seen a snake this color before. It was kind of like, and I freaked out at first because it was kind of brown at
Could
either
have been a copperhead.
The head. Oh, it was brown at the bottom and brown at the top. And then it was like a reddish thing in the like reddish dirt. You know, that real rich red dirt color you get out in the desert? Yeah. It was kind of like that in the middle. And then it was brown on either ends. And when I searched the picture that I found that looked closest to the snake, I think it was quite quick, it all happening, but I think it might have been a yellow-headed whip snake by the look of the coloring.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure they are poisonous, but they don't tend to attack because their mouths are so little. And they're kind of skittish snakes. We kind of just went, oh shit. And it was like out within a second. I was like, okay, that's not a brown snake, because that would have turned around and been like,
oh my God, yeah.
At us.
I'm gonna let you go. Yeah, shivers. Wow, how cool though.
I know.
Makes her a beautiful sign.
Yeah, there was a snake on my path. I need to go look up what that means.
You do. It's all
a beautiful snake too.
New skin, new chapters.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Nice.
So let's dive into today's topic of conversation, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I'm excited about this episode. I'm excited about all our episodes, but this is actually a topic that I do love talking about, and talking even with my friends that are into it and learning it, because once I learned this stuff, it changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. Changed, I believe, how my relationship with Simon was moving forward. It was good, but I can tell you now, right now, it is going to be the tightest, most epic relationship for the rest of our days. And so what we're talking about is feminine and masculine energy. And a couple of books that we've read, Flowers and Honey by Julie Tenner and The Queen's Code by Allison Armstrong. We both read these books. We both absolutely adore this subject. And I love to hear your perspective on this too, because we do have as much, it's like we know what lights us up, but there's parts of it that you love that's different to mine. So let's have a chat about that.
Yeah, because this is like one of my favorite things to dive into as well. And I find that like I've read the Queen's Code, oh my gosh, probably about half a dozen times.
Have you?
Yeah, over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And I find that I find something new every time I read it. And because the first time you read it, there's so much in there, and it kind of like every idea that's in there, you're kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like it really shifts the way that you have perceived masculine core beings and feminine core beings. So in this episode, we're going to refer to masculine core beings, him, her, that sort of languaging, only because that's
the energetic.
That's what we know.
That's right.
And we apologize in advance if we are not being politically correct or, consciously correct with this languaging. But it's a whole learning process. Like we've learned a lot in this process. And, every person, like this is such a big thing to start with, is like I grew up knowing boys and girls. Mm-hmm. Like you're either a boy or you're either a girl.
That's right.
And if you're a girl, you like girly things, and if you're a boy, you like boy things.
Yeah.
And I often hear my kids say this, and this is not because of what we have consciously taught them. We could be unconsciously teaching some of these things. I'm not totally shifting the blame, but just the way that you look at what influences kids, like the things that they watch, the way that they talk to their friends, and like even in schooling, and even when you go into the shops, there's a boys section and a girls section. Like everything's divided. You're either this or you're that. Like you stick to your section because that's where your toys are going to be, and all of that sort of stuff. And it's just really interesting when not so much anymore, because I know if my kids hear that's a boy color, that's a girl color, they go, colors are for everyone. I'm like, yeah, they are.
Oh, champs.
But before it was pretty much like, one of them would pick like a certain colored, I don't know, plate or cup or like something. And they go, you can't pick that. That's a boy color. That's a girl color. You can't have that one. I'm going to have that because that's the girl color. That's the boy color. You have this one. And yeah, so it's one of the things that really sunk in for me when I first started diving into the world of learning more about feminine and masculine energies is that in every moment we always have both feminine and masculine energy running through our being. And it's more of this like sliding scale. You're not either in your feminine or you're in your masculine. You have both of those energies continuously kind of like dancing and weaving its way in and around your being at all times. It's kind of like a sliding scale. Like you either move it more towards the feminine with a little bit of masculine, or all the way to the other side where it's more masculine, a little bit of feminine, or it's somewhere in the middle where you're kind of like an equal balance of both.
Yeah.
But it's not that you're this or that. All of us are both.
Yes, exactly.
All of the time.
Yep. I'm working with the balance of that all the time. And sometimes I have to like really go, oh, I'm really in my masculine right now. And it's not doing any favors for Simon and I because we're both in it. And it's not working, or we could be having an argument, or we could be just off, or we could be just neutral and there's no spark. It could be anything like that. It's still good, but it's still and maybe healthy dialogue or whatever, but it's still like, oh my God, I'm in my masculine. And sometimes I can catch myself from previous conditioning growing up as an adult being that's my go-to. It's actually not my innate natural state of being. Like I'm very feminine. I'm a feminine person, but I taught myself how to be masculine. And I taught myself this because of when I was first left home and going out with uni people. And it's just like, I would hang out. How do I explain it? I think it was like when I was going out with the boys, like I was with a boy, but it was just like hanging out with his mates and stuff. It was just like, I got to my state of masculine, like, I could drink with the boys and I was doing this and I was finding cars with them, which is not necessarily very masculine things, but it was all like list stuff and and just real go get it stuff. And my feminine flow, which is, you know, naturally for me is just to be cruisy and it doesn't matter. I don't have to have a plan. I dissed that. I was just like, I really pushed it away. But it always came back. It was just like, well, that's me. That's who I am. I'm more feminine than my masculine. And yeah, it's just really interesting to know that some of the conversations I had, especially just recently, even before I knew this, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, with Simon, his mate. And, you know, I remember being on a tram with them and we're going into Guns N' Roses concert. And they were saying, you got to have a plan. If you got to have a plan, and you got to have plan B. And if plan B doesn't work, you got to have plan C. And I'm just like, are you guys nuts? Like, what if you just let it go? Like, just whatever happens, and just work towards what you want to go to. And just, you know, and that sort of thing is just like, I was thinking back then that it was a personality thing, like a not evolved or something, like arrogant like that, you know. I was like, but really they were just in their masculine and I was in my feminine.
Yeah.
And it's very, very cool to notice it now and to be able to sit in my feminine and turn on my masculine when I need it, and to turn on my feminine again when I need it, and the magic of that, far out. It's amazing.
Instead of trying to match the energy that you are in, because I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I had a lot more male friends in my teen years than female friends, and I was like hanging out, and the guys would often say, oh, you're just one of the boys, you're one of the boys, you're one of the boys, because I would match when I was with them, I would go into my masculine energy to match. And that's where, you know, you feel like you can have a lot of guy friends and you can be close with people because there's no spark there, because you're not in your feminine. But as soon as you go into your feminine energy and they're in their masculine, like, that's where the attraction happens. So it's so interesting. And I wonder if any listeners can really relate to that, really knowing your masculine and your feminine energies and the ways in which they serve you, and when to flow more into one and into the other. And when it's like, oh, okay, I see that this energy is not working for me right now. How can I flow more into the other one? And what are the things I can do in order to make that shift and make that change? Because like what you're saying with your conversation with Simon and his friend on the train, is that, you know, you got to have a plan B, a plan A, plan B, plan blah, 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 blah. Because that's the thing. It's like the masculine wants to have this structure in place.
Yeah.
And very single focused. If plan A doesn't work, we go into plan B. And it's kind of like we go there until we either pass or fail, like we succeed or we fail. And then we go to the next thing, we succeed or we fail. And that's very much that single focused masculine energy. And us as feminine core beings can definitely go into that energy. Like, you think about when you sit down and you do something in your business and you're like, okay, cool, I got to bang out these emails and I got to do like the, you know, more of the admin-y businessy type stuff that most of us feminine artists are like, I don't want to do that.
Put it off.
Because if we go into that with our feminine energy, nothing gets fucking done. You're kind of just like, oh, I do a bit of this and then that's boring, I'm gonna go over here. Like, if I try to sit down and do that stuff in my feminine energy, it's just not going to happen. Because I'm off with the fairies. I'm like, I want to be creating stuff. I want it to feel like what you said, like, we don't have a plan, we're just creating here, we're just going to move in a way that feels really good right now. And how does that feel? And what is that, and what does that look like right now? Whereas that masculine energy is very much like, we're going from here to here. All right, and we do that until we succeed, otherwise we failed, and then we'll do the next thing that we can think of to get from here to here. And both of those are really valuable. And it's so beautiful to see the dance of that in a relationship, because also when I move more into a masculine mode, I see Brendan move more into his feminine energy. And then when I move more back into my feminine, I see him shift back into his masculine, like this kind of thing. Wow. It's so interesting to witness like how powerful your energy is.
Mm-hmm.
And it like how much, when you're in a marriage or a partnership, how you kind of dance with these energies together, like when it shifts and moves. Yes, you can both be in your masculine, and that's usually when you'll have, or you can both be in your feminine. Like masculine, I find if I try to match Brendan's masculinity in a moment where we're having maybe a difficult conversation, that's when we will like butt heads, and we'll be like, that's when you have like these really big fights. And now I can see why, when that tension starts to come, like I know, move into my feminine, because we're not going to solve anything when we're trying to both be the alpha. We're trying to both like be right and like, dominate sort of thing. But then again, if you're both in your feminine, it's kind of like,
nothing gets solved, or nothing
kind of gets solved. Kind of, you could be like, I just want to move to where it feels good and not actually confront what's actually happening right now.
And this isn't to mean that when you're in your feminine that you're letting him win, or if that's it's not like you like, okay, give in, it's easy to shut up. It's not that. No, you're showing him how you feel. Yes.
And he can respond to how you feel.
Yes.
And then offer suggestions on how you guys can move forward. It's such a beautiful way of it coming together. It feels polar opposite, because you're like, well, if he thinks in one way and I think in the other way in this situation, like how are we ever going to be on the same page and see things the same way? But it's such a beautiful, what's the word? The duality. There's a beautiful duality that kind of works really well together, because when you allow him to lead you in that, so to speak, and you just be like, well, it feels like this for me right now, and I don't know what to do, and this was happening and it's making me feel like this, like how can we get to a place where that might not happen again, or when this happens, like you could let me know this or whatever. Like that's when it comes, instead of both kind of trying to be the one that fixes it, you fix it together by really getting in and having both of those polarizing I want to say polarizing, but that's not like one end of the energy polarity spectrum with the other, and have them come together and really work from that, rather than trying to match each other's energy and trying to be the same. And I think one of the biggest breakthroughs early on in the book, in Allison Armstrong's Queen's Code book. If you have not read it, definitely go read it. It's like, it kind of, the first couple of times that I read it too, it was kind of like a hard pill to swallow as well.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's confronting, because you're like, but he should just know. And but like, why should I be the one that's doing all the fucking work here? But this is the thing, right? You can either be right, or you can either go, all right, I want to evolve and I want to change something.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like, one of the biggest things that's the point in her book, and it's early on, is that when you think of them doing the wrong thing, or they're misbehaving, she says misbehaving men, like we view men as misbehaving, like he's not doing the right thing, he should be doing that right now. Why hasn't he done that when I've already asked him to do it? Like, why do I have to repeat myself and ask him to do this thing over and over again?
I'm just
and he's not fucking doing it. Why is it my responsibility to keep reminding him? Blah blah blah. Like, it's kind of like, do you want to continue this, or do you want to maybe perhaps see it from a different perspective? And that perspective shift is so powerful, because it's like, misbehaving in comparison to what?
Like
that. My head like literally just like, when I read that, my head blew up into like a bajillion pieces. I was like, because I'm comparing him and the way he behaves to me, and how I think and how I feel and how I behave. Mm-hmm. But as we've already established, I'm a feminine core being. He's a masculine core being. They are very different energies. Why am I comparing him to me?
That's it.
Like, why do I think that what he's doing is wrong and not right in comparison to me?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. And then by spouting out what they're not doing. You're emasculating them, and they're not willing to help you in any way.
No,
because they're like,
who wants to help somebody being like, you're like, yeah, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
No thanks.
That's it. She's cutting me down. I heard somebody say it. I was driving and says, when your man is in their deepest masculine. Now, when I hear that, I don't know about you, but I just get like little tingles and on my body, on my skin, every single time I hear that. And I go straight to Simon. It's just like, when he's in his deep masculine, it's like, holy freaking stuff.
How hot are they?
Like, you know what I mean? And the magic when you know that and you're in your feminine and they're in their masculine and you understand why they do the things they do, and it really is to love you, to serve you, to do the things for you, to keep you safe, to keep you secure. That's what they do. That's innate for them, for the masculine. And it's just so beautiful when you realize that some of the things that you think they're doing, and you go, oh my God, they're just
why is he doing that?
Exactly. Why is he always leaving the garage door open? You know, that was one of the things in the book. And it like struck with me, why is he always doing that? And it always caused fights. And so she'd get home from work and she's always stomping her, you know, feet and just slamming things around because it just peeves her off that much. And then when he told her through, you know, the things that they were doing, the work that they were doing, that was because he knew she was coming home at a certain time. So he went outside and opened the garage door for her so that she didn't have to. And that was his love, that he, and he's
welcoming her home.
Exactly. And how can you not freaking fall in love with that? And how can you not feel freaking like an old bitch when you're going on about they're not doing things for you, and they're actually every day they're doing something for you.
They are. And do you know what? If this is the biggest thing that I learned is like, if I don't tell Brendan, my husband, what it is that I want and what it does for me, he just guesses.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
A lot of the stuff they do, you think like, why the hell did he do that? Like, what purpose does this serve right this very fucking second? I'm sorry. This is a sweary live. I did not realize I was in a sweary mood.
We're both in wild mode.
We are. Yeah. So like, why? But it's so interesting when you ask. And it's so interesting when you give them direction. Since we've been homeschooling the kids, and I run my own business as well, and Brendan has to work. He works for a really big company, and he's, you know, in the corporate world sort of thing. So he's got to be on at certain times a day as well. And so now when we structure our days, it's like from the time that we wake up until, you know, just before 9 o'clock, that's my time. Like, that's when I do a lot of my work. That's when I have my me time sort of thing. And then as soon as Brendan needs to start work, then I'll take over with the kids and do the homeschooling and all the stuff the rest of the day sort of thing. And even just mentioning to him what, you know, making our bed means to me. Like, I love when you make our bed. Thank you for making our bed. Like, it's one less thing that I feel like I have to do in the mornings. And, you know, it to him, like, I hate making the bed. What are the things that I hate taking out the rubbish because it's gross and it stinks. And and when I told him I really don't like taking out the rubbish because it's gross and it's disgusting, he quite happily will go, yeah, I'll take out the rubbish.
Yeah.
Just even having the conversation of like, what do you need for you to know when I'm ready for you to take out the rubbish?
Yeah.
Because often, like, it would get to the point of overflowing. And I'm like, oh, like, take it out already.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? But quite often he was waiting until, you know, I would say, okay, the rubbish is ready now. Like he didn't want to take it out before I was done with it, so to speak. Like, what if there's something else that she needs to put in the bin before we take it out? That, you know,
being considerate.
Yeah. And just knowing things like that. And even him organizing breakfasts for the kids. And when the kids went to school last year and the year before, like I gave him the task of making the kids lunch boxes because I really don't like doing that at all. Like not even a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't like making the kids lunches. And he's like, I'll do it for you. It's like, thank you. That would be amazing. And it made me feel so good.
Yeah.
And it helped relieve a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
That he would do that for me. And he was more than happy to do it.
Yeah.
Because it made me happy.
Yeah, exactly. This is a thing. It is. And guess who's not happy when we go, oh my God, you know that this is my me time in the mornings and you know that I'm doing work and you can't even make the bed. Oh my God, why don't you think? You know what I mean? Like, who's going to be happy in that scenario?
No, that's right. And it's
Neither
like
of you
can either continue to, and like I did this so much and I still catch myself doing it, FYI. Like I still catch myself doing it where like you go to do something and I'll be like, fuck, why am I always the one that does this? And you go into the little rant inside of your head and like, why can't just somebody else do this? Blah. But quite often, and this is the whole single focus thing that I love learning about. And I actually, when I see my husband in a whole new light since learning this, it's like they can, it's kind of like the computer tabs, right? If you opened up the female brain or the feminine core being's brain in feminine energy, she has 15 million tabs open and she's surfing between them all. And she's like, I'm here and I'm here and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and blah, blah, blah. But you open up the computer brain of a masculine core being in their masculine, they got one tab open.
Yeah.
One tab. One.
And they're so freaking focused on that tab.
Exactly. And if you interrupt what's going on with that tab and you start yelling at them for something, they've got to then shut down that tab and open up a new tab where they've got to try and help you with the problem that's going on right now. And I don't know about you, but this is something that I remind myself of before I interrupt my husband with something. I'm like, if I was in my masculine trying to get something done for my work, which is usually when I go into masculine mode, when I do like the admin type things, or I have to fill in a form, or I don't know, some of the stuff I don't like doing. Like if I've directed all my energy into doing this task, and if somebody was to interrupt me right now, how pissed off would I be?
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you're like, I just need to get one thing done and then I'm all yours, sort of thing. Like that to me, I'm like, okay, is this worth interrupting? Because when you're in a masculine core being, you're in that energy most of the time, you know? Yes, I see my husband move into more of his feminine energy, and you know, when he's playing with the kids and when like they're, you know, doing that sort of stuff, and even with me sometimes, but like most of the time it's single focus, it's masculine energy. So like before I interrupt him, like, is this actually something that I can interrupt him with now that I need urgent help with right now? Because if it is, and I ask him in a way that's like, hey babe, I really need your help right now, he'd be more than happy to do it for me. But is it worth but is it like, would I interrupt myself for this when I'm in that energy? Or would I say, hey babe, I need your help with something, when would you be able to you know, come and help me with this? And ask him, and he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm just working on this right now, I'll give me an hour and I'll come over and I'll help you, sort of thing, rather than demanding that it be done right there in that moment. And the single focus thing is so interesting, because I'm like, I don't live most of my life in single focus. And I think that actually, I remember, you know, when you used to apply for jobs and you used to have a resume
in the day,
and one of the things that you would highlight on your resume was like, can multitask.
Yes.
I'm like, that's probably actually not a smart thing to put on a resume when you really think about it. Like people think, oh yeah, it can multitask. That's awesome. She can do lots of stuff. But at the same time, it's like,
how good is she
like
doing
how much stuff actually gets finished?
Exactly.
When you're multitasking, like
started 100 things this week.
Oh, done. That's why we need that masculine energy to complete, to go from from A to B, to like complete the mission or try something else.
That's it. And you know that in when you're like, you have those days at work, or you have those days in your online business or entrepreneurship where you're just like, holy shit, I smashed it out today. Like how come I can't do that every day? And it's because that day you were in your masculine energy and you were able to smash it out and you did it. And this is the interesting part, is that it's not by fluke. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just happening when you subconsciously and you don't really realize it. But there's ways to learn how to navigate it and to be able to balance it out and really switch on those energies. You know, sometimes you can't, like if you're in your feminine flow, you can't just go, oh, I'm going to switch on my masculine right now. Just kind of like not going to
unless it feels good.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, like you can't. Yeah. It just, usually when I'm in my feminine and I'm feeling really good in my feminine and I'm like, oh, I need to get stuff done. Like there are things that I can do that can help shift that. I find changing my clothes to be a good one, or my hair. There's like a meme that goes around. It's like, put my hair up in a bun, put some wraps, and get some shit done. Like that literally is like a shift from going from your feminine energy into your masculine, because, you know, rap music's kind of like really like, you know, it's hard, and it's kind of like achieving the things and going for the dreams, and like, you know, we go until we like win or lose, like do or die sort of energy behind a lot of, you know, the hardcore rap music. But like, putting your hair up, for example, is and sitting your ass in the chair. Actually, this is the thing, like the masculine energy is very much like, I love, and we're going to be talking to Julie Tenner on the podcast, and she talks about the masculine energy as the mountain and the feminine energy as the flower. And I love this analogy. Like the masculine is very much stillness. I put my hair up. It's not going to distract me. It's going to stay still on top of my head. I'm going to put some music on that's going to like get me in the zone to be like, you know, I don't know, Eminem style or whatever. I'm just in the zone. I'm ready to rap my heart out and like, you know, slay the stage sort of thing. And being really still. And then if I do find that I am in my masculine and I'm wanting to cultivate more feminine energy in my body, that's when I go and I put on flowy clothes, clothes I can whip around and I can swan around the house in, like, you know, feel the textures of and moving your body. So this
feeling the senses as well.
Yeah, this is like a little thing that I find, especially when I'm with my kids and I start to feel that sort of disconnect from emotions, are very much like, okay, on to the next thing. All right, stop crying. Let's do it. Like, you know, I don't want to be short with my kids, but you know how sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm over it. Let's just do the next thing because we've got so many things to tick off our list today. Exactly. We've got to be here. We've got to be here. There's this time and blah, blah, blah. That's me shifting more into my masculine. And if I'm wanting to be more in my feminine, that's where I stop and I go, all right, dance break, or even just like getting up and like shaking it out and getting the energy like moving through my body. That reminds me to get out of my head and into my body and to feel into it more. And that is where my husband often says this to me. He's like, you're so patient. Like how can you be so patient with the kids when they're like just fucking nuts? I'm like, because I get out of my head and I feel into my body. And that's where, you know, compassion for me lives, and I can feel into more, okay, I can understand your emotions right now, like this feeling, and I can really connect to that versus I haven't got time for this. Let's just keep going, guys. Like we'll circle back here later. Right now we have to go. Like
I know. I know. And what a beautiful awareness. It's so cool. Because I definitely see mine too. My tricks are when I want to get in my masculine, I get in my gym clothes and my sneakers, my runners, and I put my headphones in. If it's housework I've got to do and I've got to move around, I fly at it. Like if I want to do housework, I fly at it. I'll put my sneakers on, it's like a workout, and I'll put some really cool, fast music.
Cleaning that thing, then that thing, then that thing, ticked on that room, next room.
Done.
Yeah.
Right. If I want to clean up in my feminine, I'm putting some oils on and shit's not getting done. Shit's not getting done.
And waving the incense around.
That's right. And I'm looking online because I'm thinking I could really do with a new dinner cover, and I could really, you know what I mean? So it's not getting done. But when I'm in my masculine and I am short with the kids, or I am, you know, just feeling that like I just want to get back in my feminine, I'm just rubbing oils and I'm just rubbing my skin, giving myself a nice little massage and putting those diffusers on and making my house, and maybe like sometimes I put like spa music on, like that seems to help me. Like I love it. Like oh my god, I'm in Dota, man. Like, but I'm not. Day spa time. But like that's what I'll do, and that just gets me in, and that's when I write when I'm in that, you know, and just and I'm totally having a great time with the kids. So it's bloody brilliant. It's magic.
It is. It's very, very life-changing when you because this isn't taught. This isn't taught, and especially growing up and, you know, going to school and going into the workplace and all of these things, and even, you know, your behavior as a child, what gets rewarded is more of the masculine energy. And so I think a lot of especially feminine core beings need to remind themselves or get to a point where they're like, I really feel like I don't know who I am, and I feel like loss of connection to my heart and my soul, and why I'm here is because we've been trained into more of the masculine type energy. You know, you get rewarded when you are competitive and you come first. Like that's a very much a masculine energy. And that like I see that with my, you know, with my son and my daughter. Like my daughter does things because it feels good and she just wants to have fun and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, she gets a bit competitive, but I see it so strong in my son. But it's like really cultivating that within him. And that within her is like, I kind of play with them a little bit differently, because I really want my son to feel like he's had some wins, that he completed the mission, that he, you know, that, and also give, like, playing with him in ways where, you know, he has to stretch and try harder than he did last time as well, because I feel like that's really like cultivating that within the masculine. And then with the feminine, it's like I don't ever push her to do things that don't feel good for her, and really leaning into like playing with her emotions and like, how does this feel for you, and what's actually going to create that creative energy within you naturally. Yes, like there are going to be times where she's got to be more competitive and like all of those things. Like you want to really understand both, but really celebrating that about it's the polarity in those energies. And it's not always about getting it right. It's not always about getting a tick and about achieving the outcome and like, you know, scaling the mountain and being number one and all of these things, even though yes, that drive is going to get you places in life, but also being in the mess of creativity, that is just as beautiful, and it's just as important in this world as well as achieving the things and being successful. Like it gets to be both. It doesn't have to be that you need to sacrifice. It feel like I felt this when I started my business. Like I'm too messy and things are just everywhere, and it should be like this, because so many examples of entrepreneurship and building businesses and brands and doing things like is that you got to hustle and you got to have, you know, it needs to flow like this, like you got to have this in place and this in place and like all of these things. But what I've realized is that when I'm in my creative energy and creating, I then know where I need my masculine to build a structure for me.
Yeah.
Like cultivating this within yourself, I think, is really important, and understanding how it works, because being a feminine core being and being highly creative, and the work that I do in this world is about energy and feeling and love and purpose and all of these things, and dreaming and very much feminine activities, feminine core being energy type activities. But then it's like, I don't know where I need to build structures into supporting that energy for myself unless I'm actually in that energy first. Whereas I think early on, I was trying to do it the other way around. I'm like, I build like the solid foundation, and then I'll be able to be all creative and have it feel supported. But quite often what I found was that I was building the wrong kind of structure. Like I was building things that actually didn't really matter, and it didn't actually support me.
You're probably exhausted. It takes your energy out. You know what I mean? And then you've got no energy for your creativity at all, because you've just exerted yourself in the wrong energy, and it just depletes everything from you. I was the same. I was absolutely the same. I just needed all the structures in place. I needed all the mechanics, all the things working. Well,
then
I thought I did. Stuff. And then I can do the fun stuff. It turns out I had all that there, and all the fun stuff that was really, that would attract an audience or, be a magnet for somebody to buy my stuff, was just like, that wasn't even there. So it's like, oh, they're not going to buy. They don't know what your strategy, they don't know what your mechanics are.
They don't know what this is, because you're not putting out the energy that you are here to embody.
Oh my God.
At your core. Exactly. This is what magnetism is. Like you see it, like we feel highly magnetized when our men are in their masculine, because you're like, holy moly, like I'm moth to a flame right now. Like, but that's the opposite with them, is like when we're deeply in our feminine, they're like a moth to a flame. Like
exactly,
the feminine energy is so magnetic when it's alive and when it's creating. So this is like the beautiful mix that you get to play with within yourself, is that how do I, like, what is my core being state, and like how do I nourish that and allow that to grow and develop and create and be messy and all of the things, or do what it needs to do, and then how do I bring in the other energy to support that? If you're feminine core being, like how do I create and allow it to be the creation process so that I know where I feel like I need support, and how do I then get in my masculine to like help me build those supports, so when I'm in that, I can feel it. And it's the same with the masculine. It's like when I'm doing the things that I know that I'm here to do, and I'm on my missions, like where's the energy that's going to help fuel that for me, like in my feminine, like the creativeness. Because that's the thing, like we're fuel for each other. It's not just the masculine is a fuel for the feminine or a support for the feminine. It's like when we're deeply in our feminine, we fuel life force energy into the masculine.
That's right. Yeah.
So it goes both ways, and that's why it's so beautiful to have it dancing within you and not like butting heads.
That's it. So much to touch on. So much to touch on.
Oh, we got to finish up this episode now, but was like, there's so much. And I'm so excited. Our next episode on here is going to be with the amazing Julie Tanner and talking about her book, Flowers and Honey. So if you have not bought that book yet, highly recommend you go out and buy it, or go search Julie Tanner on the socials, because her work and the way she talks about this, oh my gosh, her voice is like honey. I'm so excited to talk to her.
Girl crush. Oh my God, yes, absolutely. I can't wait. It's been awesome. I reckon there's more to this. There's more to this that we can touch on our episodes. As well as what we're bringing into our next thing with magnetic money.
Yes, magnetic money is coming.
Yes.
So excited.
I'm going to sign out on this amazing, beautiful, sexy microphone.
Okay, let's bring the microphones in really, really close.
Is that close enough? Because I've got a big thingy built in.
We could do the thing that they do on the internet. Have you seen on YouTube?
No.
Where like it's really quiet. I forget what it's called.
Oh.
And they do like the eating of the things. And you hear like the crunching and stuff. What's that called?
I don't know, but I'm not into it.
It's really strange. And I find myself watching it and then going, why the hell am I watching this? But also I cannot click away because it's kind of cool. And it's kind of fueling me in some way. It's so strange.
Talk about magnetic money.
Okay. We're going to sign off on the wild roads.
Thanks for joining us today.
Have an amazing week. And we'll see you back here next week.
Over and out. Oh, creepy. Just had to put some masculine in our face. Just to balance it out. Over and out, tigers.
Yeah, tenfold.